Well, welcome. Hi guys, it's great to be here. Amazing place, lots of startups, feel the vibe. My name is Jakub Lebuda, I'm the CEO of Clipatize. We are an international content agency, and basically what we do is we help our clients explain difficult products, the products that are brought to the market, the technology intensive ones. And I'm here to encourage you to do things. And I will tell you how we've been doing things in Dubai for the last 20 months, how we've been developing business. And I'm going to structure my presentation into two parts. First of all, I'd like to introduce the place to you, because I think there's a lot of stereotype around that, and I want to clarify on that. And the next part of my presentation will be focused on how was our process, how we were really going to the market. So basically, there is a lot of things you've probably heard about Dubai, because this is a place with a very strong branding activities around. Lots of Emirates. I mean, you've heard about Emirates Airlines, the biggest airline, the biggest airport in the world. Nearly 80 million people moving through there globally. Dubai is one of 7 Emirates in the Arab Emirates. So this is a place that the city itself is massive. It's stretched for around 40 kilometers. Across the coast, and it's actually a place that is near the Persian Gulf. And when you just zoom out, you will see that this is a pretty central place. If we just lose the European context, you will see that actually if you look at Eurasia, Africa, and Australia, you will see that this place is actually a hub for transport, and it becomes a hub for finance and for doing big business currently. It's also very smooth access, in terms of transport. This is why many companies are moving there, and they're positioning their headquarters there. It's also a gateway to the Arab world, and this is a massive market of over 400 million people with a very young society. So this is a society that's catching up, technology intensive, lots of mobile technologies there. And this is a miraculous place, because if you look back 25 years ago, it was basically a desert. Now it looks more or less like that. Even the weather is better, And this is a true melting pot, because actually I think this is one of the unique places in the world where the locals are only 10% of the society. So only 10–11% of people, around 1 million people, are Emiratis. You've got a lot of Indian experts, and a couple of percent, around 10% of European or, let's say, North American expats. And it's pretty wealthy society. There's a lot of, let's say, poor people that come from Asia, and they work typically in manual work. But there's a lot of people that make really great money, and they have high purchasing power. In terms of running business, this is an expensive place. I mean, you can make a lot of money, but you need to spend a lot of money. And this is typically when we came into Dubai 20 months ago, people were saying, you will make a lot of money here, but you will spend a lot of money. So if you are thinking about running a business there, you need a license, and you will pay around 25 to 50,000 zlotys to get a license. If you want to school your kids, I've got 2 kids, so if I were to go there, I would need to spend around 100,000 zlotys per year to school my kids. And an apartment, probably I would need to pay 100 if I want to have a decent apartment and not really downgrade from what I can have here in Warsaw. So if you look at, let's say, the services like taxis or restaurants, this is comparable to Poland or even cheaper, and a great choice. And if it comes to doing business trips, when we are going, we spend on average around 10K for a 1-week business trip. So now I want to go to the second part, and I want to share the process that we have adopted over the last 20 months. We've made a lot of mistakes, but I'm too shy to share them with you at the very beginning, so I'll just wait till my last slide. What I want to say, I believe that you've got something valuable to offer, and if you have it, you just need to fight for the opportunity to show it to people, because there is 7 billion people in the world. They have all got something. So unless you really try to get the attention, you will not succeed. And basically, if you want to sell anything, you need a meeting. You need to interact with people. And in order to get a meeting, you need a lead, which is a contact, and you need an action. So act. And this is how we were acting in Dubai. We basically, over those 20 months, we were running through a cascade of various operations, and we started through manual development of databases. So basically, we're just sitting in front of a laptop, getting contacts to people. Dubai is very easy for that because this is a place that is divided. Districts are relevant to specific domain. You've got a healthcare city, you've got media city, you've got internet city, you've got sports city. So actually, if you want to have a directory of a district, you've got 100, 200, 300 companies operating in a very specific area, which is really easy to start with. You can also choose rankings. We've been choosing, let's say, 100 top SMEs from Dubai. You've got 100 addresses. You can reach out to those guys and get a meeting. And we're also looking through vertical. Dubai is a place that is very strong when it comes to exhibitions. So global exhibitions are going on there, exhibitions related to the Arab world. And actually, when you look at the list of companies that are exhibiting, you can have a list of leads. Then we moved into B2B lead generation. This was really a relief when we found this product category, and we started working with Right Hello initially. Then we moved to GrowBots, which was really great. I will tell about this later on. And now we kind of mix those approaches. We very much like LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You basically type in the type of, let's say, position you want to meet in a company and a place, and you just can source it easily. You pay around 60 euro per month to get that. So if you really want to turn this into a process, you need to manage your assets. You need to manage what you have, and basically to manage leads, you need to have a CRM. There's a plenty of those in the market. There's a plenty of local, let's say, Polish CRMs. We are actually using Close.io. This is a US system, but I think this is irrelevant what you're using. Sourcing leads, automatic sourcing, this is amazing. I mean, within, let's say, 15 minutes, you can have 600 leads from a place you're looking for. When you go to GrowBots, I think they've been speaking here a number of times. You just say, let's say, business vertical, location, the size of the company, and what kind of people you want to meet. Let's say CEO or CMO or CSO, and you can have a database, which is really great. So then you just need to turn this into a mass mailing, but this is personalized mailing. So you mass mail personally, so you can address specific people. Dear John, I want to meet your company, and I'm here. I'm in Dubai or in any other place at a specific point of time. The key to success in order to schedule a meeting is follow-up. Of course, this is what the B2B lead generation companies, they say. And typically they say that you need to follow up till the moment that someone says, get out of here, or you get a meeting. You know, in our case, we typically follow up twice before a meeting, but then we follow up next times when we go on another mission. So you should allow yourself for a little bit of humor when you're scheduling meetings, because this is our case. I mean, we give them an ABC choice, and the C choice is just leave me stalker, you know. So some people really, you know, they really reply to the second follow-up saying, guy, listen, Jakub, you know, I'm really busy, but I was somehow, I really like the way you approach me. So yeah, let's have a coffee, and then we start talking. We also use this kind of mass personalization through LinkedIn. This is a lot of manual work, but actually you can really achieve your goals pretty quickly. So probably a couple of days, 2 or 3 days in order to schedule all your meetings. And then, of course, the calendar. I mean, it sounds really trivial, but when you're mailing 500 companies before your trip, you've got a lot of responses and a lot of concurrent meetings. So actually, we have mastered our approach to this. I mean, we are now adding signatures to the meetings that we have. So let's say we've got a top brand. So this is an A in the calendar. We've got something that's a bit lower, so we put a Z, and then in the end, once we are closing the calendar before the meeting, we then decide who is going to the meeting, or if we go to the meeting at all. Of course, if you act at this mass scale, I hope our clients are not listening to this, you need to do a compromise on who you're meeting. You've got a limited time, so just decide who is really the priority. And also a kind of very operational thing. for us it was important when you are scheduling a meeting and you've got the address line, you should put the address and then validate this address through a mobile phone. Because if you're driving in Dubai, crazy place, you just need to put, you need to be sure that when you turn your GPS in a mobile phone and you press your calendar address, you just go to the right place. It doesn't give you 7 different options, because if you've got just 1 hour to get from one side to another, you might not make it. So here's the workflow of the mission. Actually, this is pretty simple. This is how we work now. Basically, we start 3-4 weeks before the date. We define the date. Actually, when we want to go, you need to check against national holidays. Actually, it turned out a couple of times for us that we went to a place and the offices were closed, or we didn't take into account that probably there is a public holiday or a religious event. Or you need to check against big trade shows, because then the hotels are super expensive and probably this is all going out of budget. Then, of course, 2 weeks before the mission, we typically start working at the lead database. So we collect the addresses, and we prepare mailings. We try to make them unique every time. And around 10 days before we start, before we go to the mission, we start mailing. And it's for us, it also worked very well when we were mailing during the weekend. Typically people say that weekend is bad for mailing, but I think that especially corporate people are working on their agendas still on the weekend, so we can have pretty high response rate. And then we go to the mission. So we've got typically around 20 meetings over the time of 1 week. And for us, we found it really crucial to come back with a summary every day. So every day we do 4 follow-ups, and we make sure that they are relevant, that they really reflect the profile of the client. So you can do mass personalization when you want to schedule a meeting, but you cannot do it when you are following up after a meeting, because then people will just see that you are kind of, you're not really bringing any value that is relevant to the client. So when you do that and you come back, let's say we come back to Warsaw, typically after 1 week, we get a brief from the client. You can facilitate this process if you don't ask for a brief, but you actually ask the briefing questions yourself. So what do you want to do? Why? Who is your target audience? And so on and so forth. This is in case of us when we do communications. And then when you get a brief, you should take as short as possible in order to develop a proposal, and we take around 1 week. So after 2 weeks, we try to get on a call with the client and present what we have to offer. And then basically you repeat. So this is something we've been doing for around 20 months. When we go on another mission, we give the priority to the companies that we already met, because it's very important to see that you are committed to a company and to a place. But it's also worth not, don't get sad if you just were not successful with a specific client, but keep on nurturing. Send, let's say if you have any kind of implementation, interesting projects with other companies, just send this over, because I found a number of clients that I just met them once, but when I met them after a year, let's say for the second time, because of my nurtures, they felt as if I've been in their office for like 10 times. This is what people are saying. Oh, I know you've been here 10 times, but I was actually there only for the second time. But I sent 7 different emails with the stuff that we've done along the way. So we've done a lot of mistakes. Typically, in Dubai, the biggest mistake for us was something that I call a networking trap. This is a massively open place. People are from all over the world, and they want to meet. So we've been meeting, really strange people only because they show their interest, and we need to learn on our mistakes, which people we shouldn't meet, because otherwise you just can have coffee, all day long, and this is not bringing any financial benefit. It's very important to us. It was very important, and to our clients, to show that we really care about the place and that we have long-term plans. I have heard from many clients that they see those cowboys, let's say, coming from Europe, that they just pay for one trip and they hope that they can build a hut in Montana just for the revenue from one trip, and it doesn't work this way, because the people that are there, maybe for some people, not for me. So it's really good to show them that, let's say, in the long-term plan, you are planning to position someone. Actually, as of the 1st of February, we're getting a person there on the ground full-time to service our clients. It's also some mistake that we've done. It's positioning, let's say, in terms of price. We only found that this whole venture was profitable once we decided to raise prices and really cut down, the people that were in constant dialogue with us without actually contracting anything. So it's so we decided to go up market, and probably this is a good strategy if you are coming from this place, because otherwise you just compete with much cheaper Indians or Pakistanis, and this is difficult fight, definitely. So I encourage you to do whatever you're planning to do, and if you'd be interested in our processes, CRM, how it works, I'm happy to share this later on. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thanks for that. And does anyone have a question?
So it seems you chose mailing as your main strategy for going to market. Have you thought of or tried calling leads, or outsourcing or cold calling leads, or calling from a list?
We didn't do cold calling. Sorry. We didn't do cold calling as such, but I'm a really strong promoter at Clipatize, at the company. I'm a strong promoter of calling. Whenever we do mailing and we get an out-of-office response from someone, and there is a phone number in the signature, we typically look when the person is back in the office and we call them, because I think it works better. But I think this is like kind of a complementary thing to the email, and probably doesn't matter much. I mean, it's about being able to express who you are, what kind of value you bring in, and then just reaching to the right audience. So you need to make sure that, let's say, the person within the company that you address is the person that can have a success through working with you. So this is basically the idea.
We know each other, so I'm not going to go into details, just I'm saying yes. We have a client that they are from Dubai and now they're coming here. What brought you from Poland to Dubai? Because now they're just looking at Poland as a good market for what they're doing, and they're exactly doing what you're doing.
I'm always, my colleague Veronica, that actually is a part of this venture with me here, she's always saying that I shouldn't say this during events or kind of, discussions with clients. There is a bit of coincidence in this, of course. I'm a part of an international jury for mobile content. I was invited once to Bahrain and the second time to United Arab Emirates. And I just decided, to take 3 days as an extension of my stay at the conference. And I organized a couple of meetings. And so it turned that we had, successful discussions. So this is the part of coincidence. What was not coincidental is that I decided intentionally to meet a couple of people while being there. But the rest was, a lot of, probably a bit of coincidence and a lot of hard work and the process that we have put into this. The weather is good, and like now, yeah, we are just living for a mission on Saturday, so I'm happy, In July it's a bit, it's like 47, 45, and it's, yeah, it's a bit difficult, but yeah, it's business, right?
Thank you very much for presentation. You mentioned that you make around 20 appointments on each mission. How many, really prospecting customers you get from this one mission on average, and how many contracts?
All right, so I made this kind of summary. I don't have the numbers, right now ready, but so far in Dubai, we've done, over the period of 20 months, we've done 358 meetings. And we started working with, I think, 26 or 27 clients altogether. I would say that out of 20 meetings, we get around 7 to 10 briefs, and 1/3 would convert, roughly.
Thank you for your presentation. How would you comment on the recent observation that the email marketing is started to die? Is dying right now, and maybe it will be out in a couple of years. Are you planning for new strategies using new mediums or technologies?
Okay, so like I'd like to answer in two ways. First of all, if we look at this kind of technical way of mailing, we don't really use mailing systems as such, where those mails are generated from this kind of artificial address. I'm not on the technical side, but we don't do it. We do something that is closer to mail merge. The CRM that we use, Close.io, allows us to send each email as a separate one. So this is actually fast sending of emails rather than a kind of a newsletter emailing. The second thing is that I mean, you need to act like this very intensively at the beginning. At some point, you have a pool of customers that you develop, and then it's also a word of mouth that is driving you. So this is it. Yeah.
My question is, after you get the brief and okay, happily you sign the deal with the customer, how then the process of cooperation looks like? Do you have to go there quite often, or can you do everything remotely? How does it look like, if you can just describe?
So this is a challenge, definitely. I mean, there's 2 hours difference in the summer and 3 hours difference in the winter. Most of the projects we do online, similarly as the projects that we do in Warsaw, actually. So there is more of a kind of psychological barrier for the client, and if they can trust you, you will anyway deliver most 98% online. You can get on a call, and for us this is a repeated process. So let's say every month, every 6 weeks, we're in Dubai, so we can meet them. And it's so far it wasn't. I mean, probably it was a blocker for some of the clients. It might have been. Typically for, let's say, public agencies, the public sector is very conservative. So it's not like corporate one, but the corporate clients didn't really feel it was a problem for